You're getting bit? Cheech is on. Yes!
Let's go!
Cheers. Fried chicken on a boat.
It's got to be a top. It's got to be a top 5 fishing boat food. It's cold fried chicken.
Yeah.
Good mahi bite. Drifting past the high flyer. Sounds like it's starting up again. No signs of tuna just yet. Heard some boats nearby have had some. So as the sun sets, we're hoping we'll get a shot at some tuna on the chunk. But meantime, I'm happy. Fish in the box, chicken in the belly.
Yeah. Just got to, you know, capitalize when the opportunity presents itself as well.
Let's face it, mahi, although fun to catch and delicious table fare, are the participation trophy of the canyons. They're the contingency plan to avoid coming home with an empty cooler after a 300-mile round trip. While I'm happy to have fish tacos in my future, I'm eager to see what the night shift has in store aboard the Helen H. As we switch over the tackle, Jim checks in with Matt Solito, one of the best mates in the game, to get the rundown on rigging our chunking rods for tuna.
Hey Matt, so we had some mahi madness too?
Oh yeah, about 150 of them.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess you guys know because you have to cut them all.
Yeah, up to 15 pounds.
Oh, that's pretty, hey man, that was a great start. We're settling now for the night chunk. Now, I want to make sure I've got my rigging perfect for when the tuna do move through. What do you recommend for like your basic chunking rig?
So the size of the fish we're catching tonight are all probably going to be 40 to 90 pounds. So we're going to use 60 to 100 pound leaders. Okay. Mostly fluorocarbon. We use a lot of Andy Pink also. And for that size fish, we're going to go with like a 6-aught or a 7-aught live bait hook, short shank. But generally just a straight J hook for them.
Okay. Now, when you hook the bait, do you try to hide the hook in it, or doesn't?
Not necessarily. I mean, you can go through the extra effort, but it really doesn't make much sense. During the day, it makes a lot of difference, but at night, generally, they're black hooks and it's black down there. So
it's a good point.
They're not that smart.
How long's the leader about? How long should I make my leader?
6 to 9 feet.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm a little short right now. I probably should lengthen mine up.
You got like a 4.5.
Got about 4 feet, so I'll retie
Was it
that.
cut back from mahi fishing?
It is. Yeah.
Got to retie that.
And the egg sinkers. Now, will you adjust the weight depending on where the fish are, or do you have kind of a standard weight? Is there somewhere I should start?
Years ago, we used to love using egg sinkers. It was the norm out chunking tuna. Everybody used egg sinkers. So we kind of switched. There's one of them, but we use the black ones. This is a fish finder rig, a standard fish finder rig.
Yeah.
So the wind picks up, the drift picks up. We start moving real quick. Clip this off, put on a 20 or a 16 or a 14. You know, the drift slows down, the current slows down. You go back to a 5 or an 8 or a 2. Or if some fish, pop up right on the surface, unclip it. Unclip your sinker, just reclip the snap, obviously. Flip your bait right over and you're in.
All right, that's good to know, man. Yeah. I wish I should have made this call before I came out here. I've got a whole bunch of egg sinkers, but
you know that.
But Matthew, thank you very much, man.
Anytime, Joe. Anytime.
This should be looking forward to settle in for the night. So probably happen a couple hours early morning.
Yeah. 3 a.m. usually that dinner bell gets rung and they start coming.
Awesome.
So
man.
We'll get that leader tied up and
we got some time.
Plenty.
Perfect, man. Thank you.
Anytime.
As it turns out, we didn't have plenty of time. I'd barely had enough time to get my bait in the water before I heard the beautiful sound of a tuna tail beating away at the deck.
So we're not too long after dark, and we weren't expecting the tuna thing. We just talked to Matt. Weren't expecting any tuna for a while, and then just had 3 back to back real fast. Nice little flurry, so, you know, all on squid. Cheech and I switched over to squid, hoping maybe we get our numbers called next.
When the tuna find the slick, you never know how long they'll stay. So after the first fish came over the reel, I started feeling the pressure. Was my bait at the right depth? Would my knots be strong enough? Was my choice of bait the right one? Fortunately, the tuna answered those questions quickly.
You're getting bit? Cheech is on. Yes! Nice. All right, dude.
Until you've seen it, it's tough to imagine how tuna fishing on a headboat even works. To get a tuna over the rail, you need an experienced crew, like the one on the Helen H. Within seconds of hooking up, there's a mate or Captain Joe at your side, ready with the gaff to help navigate around the other fishermen and lines.
Woo! Good job, Cap. Thanks, buddy. That's what we came on the Helen H for, baby. Nice yellowfin.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a big one.
That's a fatty. That's awesome. Ate it right out of my hand.
I saw it, dude.
I was just hoping it wasn't someone else's line. So basically this yellowfin ate a whole squid right out of my hand, right around 100 feet where they've been biting. Just letting it down slow. Mate's about to brain spike this fish right now. It basically kills the fish instantly. Cuts off the central nervous system, breaks the nerves, all that stuff. That brain spike kills him instantly. Nice shot. It's almost like you've done this before. So basically that shuts things down. That helps prevent the buildup of lactic acid. Next thing is we'll get it on ice and hopefully do it another 5 or 6 times. Let's go. Let's go! Oh, nice baby.
Right through the tip like this, right?
Yep.
Dude, my hands are shaking. I'm so excited.
Just as I'm getting a bait back in the water after my fish, Jimmy gets his shot.
Oh, no! Oh, lost the whole thing.
Yeah, so I just got back in the water. Jimmy, unfortunately, broke his fish off. I have a suspect top shot that definitely has some shape from running down the side of the boat. But we're fishing, and we'll see if this top shot holds. I don't know what state of affair my leader system is or any of that stuff. I don't even know where my rod is. I just ran, grabbed a jigging rod, and ran to the back and fired a jig down, expecting to get tight right away. I look over and you get tight. It was awesome. Bites have been coming pretty steady. Probably 6 or 7 yellowfin caught by now.
Say at least.
At least, if not more. So just on the chunk, we've got the chum slip going and just kind of letting your bait go down naturally, as slow as possible. Should be right in the zone right now, right around 100 feet. Come on, yella. Give me a little slurpy slew.
Yeah, dude, look at that. So they call them triple tails. They're real prevalent down south in Florida, Louisiana, and Gulf. When they have those 3 fins, they look like a saltwater crappie almost. We're seeing some cool stuff out here, Cheech.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna come across in the canyons.
Got a pink jig on here, hoping that maybe that'll tempt them. The bites have been coming around 100 feet. Captain Joe's been seeing them come around on the depth finder at 100 feet, so I'm trying to drop this below 100 feet, maybe 150, 200 feet, and work it back up through the water column. I want to do everything at once right now. I want to jig squid. I want to drop a chunk. I want to jig the jig. Put the sword bait out. I want to have a
This
ronds.
flurry started as soon as I started waxing a floss loop to start setting up my sword rod. And I didn't know I saw the first fish before anybody said anything. And I thought it was just free swimming. And then it was the quietest tuna I ever caught. And then I heard there was a second one caught, and I'm like, I gotta get down here.
And you were the third, I think.
Yeah,
No, you might have been the
fourth. I came right
fourth.
down and boom.
That was awesome.
I'm so parched right now. I don't even want to stop to take a drink.
Bummed I lost that fish.
You got nothing but chances for more, buddy.
All right, re-rigged my chunk rod. Fresh knots, fresh line,
I wish I could say that about mine.
fresh hopes and dreams.
I got boat rash on my top shot.
Did you see when I was spooling the top shot and I dropped the spool in the water?
Yeah, I did see that.
Dude, this has all gone downhill for us so fast. I mean, not downhill, like in a chaotic way. We've not comported ourselves as well as we should have. I'm trying to put new top shot on, the spool dumps over the side.
I just feel one nick after another in my top shot.
And that's part of the I mean, even with a long rod, like these are 7-foot rods, which you generally want a longer rod for this tuna fishing. You know, to try to keep it away from the boat. Try to keep your offering out and away from chafing the underside of this boat, because you're 7 or 8 feet above the water. Overspooled this. I need a tuna to come tighten it up for me.
Just the tip, Jimmy, just the tip. I like to make sure that the squid is hooked right in the tip at the top and centered into the cartilage so that it doesn't spin and it sits right in the water.
As the action peters out after midnight, the number of anglers manning the rail dwindles until it's just me, Jim, a couple of other guys, and the mates. Having lost his only tuna, Jimmy begins feverishly changing between metal, soft plastic, and squid. Just when it seems like the tuna bite is shut off for good, I see a bent spinning rod out of the corner of my eye.
Oh, ho, ho. Eat him here, bud.
Strange noise coming out of here.
Nice job, guys. Expert angler Jim. Dude, that looked like a really fun setup to fight that fish on.
Yeah, it was nice. It's a little bit short for a head boat, but it had a lot of guts. Like when you could get it up here and put the full bend of it, man, it put a lot of heat on the fish. It was a really lightweight and fun to fight it. But the one place it was tricky is when that fish would try to go under the boat.
Yeah.
And you'd have to go from up here to down here. but it all worked
You
out in the end.
handled it well.
Yeah, I
You
got
handled it kind of like you knew what you were doing.
Just fake it till you make it, I guess.
It was nice and calm pretty much the entire time until about an hour and a half ago.
Tuna chop.
Yep, they like to eat in this stuff.
Blood on my boots, it's a good sign.
Oh, covered in blood. I love it. There's nothing better than hearing that like there's tuna under the boat at a depth when you're like, I'm pretty much at that depth right now.
Or I'm headed there, or I'm above it.
Or I'm like very close to it.
Yeah, Cheech and I are both using the same rods, slightly different reels, but they're the Tsunami Carbon Shield 2 rod. Now I'm using it to jig. It's a pretty versatile rod. It's very lightweight, great action, has a kind of a moderate action. It's almost like a jigging type rod where you have a deep bend in it, but it's lightweight, has a lot of power. I've got it matched with the Ocean Max 9, the Maxwell Ocean Max 9, so it's a little bit smaller than Cheech's, which is going to make it lighter and easier to jig with. Cheech has the Ocean Max 10 on the same setup that he's chunking with, and you know, I've really enjoyed using this. It's got a little extra length at 7 feet. It's rated for 40 to 80 pound test braid, and man, I haven't felt overpowered. Like I lost a fish on the chunk rod earlier, did not feel overpowered, just kind of hit the boat with the line and frayed it, but great setup. You know, you don't have to go too fancy for this chunking. It's like almost simpler is better. So good reliable reel with a nice drag, a rod that's going to be lightweight because you're going to be holding it all night. You know, if you're going to stay at the rail all night, you know, you don't have one of the rod holders, you're going to keep it in hand, especially if you're jigging. Something that's going to be comfortable to fish with, that's really important. This is a setup too that won't break the bank.
Part of the beauty of headboat canyon fishing is being left to your own devices and fishing however you'd like, as long as you aren't interfering with the other fishermen. This gives you the freedom to jig, chunk, fish for squid, or even send out a bait for swordfish. With plenty of real estate on the previously crowded rail, it was the perfect time for Jim and I to take the rods we'd brought specifically for swordfish and send out our rigged squids under our homemade lighted pool noodle floats. Having never caught one, broadbill swordfish are at the very pinnacle of my fishing hit list. In fact, between tuna flurries earlier in the night, a lucky angler next to us hooked an undersized swordfish on a bait sent down for yellowfin. Action came quickly. Jim got bit first by a big blue shark, and my bite came immediately after. As Jim and Matt deal with the shark, my float disappears. This isn't a blue shark. The fish is too athletic. As I get it close, the floss loop for my sinker jams in a roller guide and the leader chafes on the underside of the boat. But not before a fisherman at the stern yells, "Who has the pup swordfish?"
So Cheech, we stayed at the rail all night, man.
Just a couple of buddies having a good time
Eating
on
snacks,
a party boat,
eating
at the rail.
Pringles.
That was a great night, man.
Usually I catch a little bit of sleep, but I slept so well on the ride out.
Yeah, exactly. Same here.
I think I'll be doing a lot of sleeping on the ride back, though.
Yeah. Definitely at the stage of the trip where everything's harder to do.
I feel like we're running a little
You're
low
like
on
slow
gear.
motion.
Our like once perfectly organized tackle is just turned into some sort of yard sale here on the deck of the Helen H.
Right?
Oh, you need?
I need a tuna to wake me up.
It's usually a
That's what
jolt
I
of
need.
energy that can't be matched with other caffeine. Get you?
Yeah. That'll wake you up.
He and the tuna are having the same breakfast.
It's one of those like double-edged swords. I don't want to see daylight, but I kind of want to see daylight. You know what I mean?
No, I do. See,
Like,
I do because I think
I want
we
to see it starting because that's when you get excited. It's like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it'd be different. Different if the bite was going right now and you'd be worried it was going to shut off. But I think we might be in a situation where a little bit of light might actually kick things off for us.
Well, Jim, it's time for a little breakfast snack.
I have a feeling I know what this is going to be. Better marshmallow to whole grain ratio.
Little morning treat. Magically delicious. Look at it, perfect amount of marshmallow, like meltiness on the bottom to hold it together.
Looks a little light on the mallow to me.
There's more than 13 hours of darkness in mid-October, but even still, dawn came a little too quickly. The daybreak tuna bite consisted of just a single fish, caught before the sun had even crested the horizon. Jim and I had been at the rail for the first line in right until Captain Joe began the northwesterly troll toward home. An 18-hour stretch fueled by energy drinks, coffee, cold fried chicken, and the anticipation of what could happen at any moment. Following sensory overload of an overnighter to the canyons, I crashed hard on the ride back, dreaming of landed yellowfin, lost swordfish, and the next time I could ride a headboat to the tuna grounds.